Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Virginia Kilmore, and welcome to my studio. I'm very excited to share this cute little card designed by Heidi Collins with you today because today is Case a Card Monday, but I'm really excited to tell you about the sale that's happening tomorrow. So let's get underway. So look at how cute this little card is. Before we get started, though, I wanted to share with you that tomorrow there's a big year-end closeout, everything from the mini catalog that's retiring. So make sure to check online. I'll be posting something today, and if you'd like the flyer, I'll be happy to share that with you. Things are on sale for as much as 50% off. So pretty cool. So I'm going to zoom out so you can see everything. Today's card is designed by Heidi Collins, and this card is very similar to what I ended up with. The main reason I wanted to teach you this today is because it uses something called masking, which makes it really neat to be able to create this environment of little houses all stacking behind it. I did change up the colors a little bit, but I pretty much stayed true to form because I thought what Heidi did was really cool. To get everything that you need, it's all listed here, but it'll also be listed when you look at the video. Don't forget that you can see my videos both here and on YouTube, and that tomorrow we'll be doing this cute little box that my friend Pam shared with me last week in a downline meeting. It's so adorable. It holds all this little candy in here. I don't know if you can see it, but tomorrow we'll be doing that with coffee and cards in the morning. And I'll show you varieties of different papers you can use, but also different ways of going about it. So to get started with this card, we're going to need an 8.5, and I already pre-punched that out for us, by 5.5 piece of Whisper White cardstock that I'm going to go ahead and glue my Night of Navy and my Cajun Craze to, because we won't be needing to do anything to the back of this. Now, had I decided to cut these out online, I probably would have cut this right out of the middle just to save paper. I like to do that to save paper. And I cut everything out of this stamp set called Well Said. It comes with this little die if you buy it as a bundle, which is Happy. I don't know if you still can buy it as a bundle, though. I should check that. The dies don't seem to be in here, but they were. I took the Sentiment Day right off of it, and I'll tell you how I got that later, but what I basically did was I took Father's Day and cut it in half so I could get just the word day out. This stamp set is 2, so probably the cutters are in the other box of stamps, because I usually store them. And I just popping out all these little pieces that I like to put in the garbage, and I have that set aside for later. But let's get this glued down now. You know how I love my green glue. Just because I can make minor adjustments. Now this is cut and cropped very tightly, so you want to really make sure you do a good job setting it in place before you set it aside, because if it moves at all, it's not going to be pretty. There's only 1/8 of an inch between the edges. Once I'm happy, I'll set that aside. I always like to rub my bone folder on it once, just to make sure all that glue is oozed out, and we'll set it over here. And now we can concentrate on this part. So the hardest part about this is figuring out how you're going to create your landscape. And you start from the first house and you work your way back. And I'm using this set coming home, which may be on sale tomorrow. I'll have to check that. And I'm going to use this house, and this one. Only those three. And I've already got them set up on blocks for the process. And I'm going to be using Memento ink and only Cajun Craze at the end when I put the word day in. So we're going to start with this set of houses, and this is the first one because I'm going to put that behind it. And I'm going to be using a technique called masking. I'm going to move those out of our way for now. And the masking happens by taking Post-it notes and cutting out samples of the house. And I know I need an extra one of them, so I think I'm going to go ahead and show you how to make one of those. So this set is a bundle that I purchased that comes with the cutters. So to do this, what you're going to do is take a Post-it note, and I'm not going to pull it apart before I stamp it, but I will when I go to cut it. And I'm going to ink up my stamp set, and I think it's this one I need another one of. I can't remember. I'm not too worried about how well inked I am as long as I get the edges. I'll leave that right there because we'll be using that shortly, and I didn't do a great job, so I'll hopefully do a better job. But I just primed my stamp. That means, you know, getting it inked up. So hopefully that will make it easier to work with. And what I'm doing is cutting just on the lines. I want to have enough so I don't get that halo that you get if you don't cut carefully. So I cut right on the line so that I can stamp and not accidentally get lines on my drawing or on my card design. The cutting is a little tedious, but I'm telling you, it's worth it. And did you see how I had all of those in there? Next time I go to use this card, if I want to make some kind of masking, I'll have all the masks ready to go. I keep them right in with the card so that I can use it. So the first one I'm going to do is this little one, and that sort of sets the design for the whole thing. And just to be sure that I've inked enough, I always like to check my card, and I go around my pad, and I'm going to pick a spot somewhere in the middle of the card. And hopefully I've done a good job. Yay! It came out right. I'm always happy when I get that, and I'm going to go ahead and start inking this before I put down that mask. The house isn't perfectly straight, but you know what? What foundation ever is? Again, I'm moving my stamp around. I probably should have re-inked before I started this design, but I thought, I don't need to. Now I'm going to go up a little bit higher than the other house. The reason for that is I want to create already the effect of depth. I'm leaving it on there to make sure I get a good coverage of it. Now, I don't know if you can see this, there's a little window around here. I decided on this one not to color it in. I may or may not decide to do the same, but this is much nicer than my first one because I lined it up. So now I need to put a mask on here so I can start putting my other houses in. And if you look, this one is in front of that one. That's how you know where it goes. So this is the first house. I think this is the second one, and that's the third. That's how you sort of figure that out. Let's hope this stamps better this time. I'll show you a trick if it doesn't. And again, I want it a little higher than the previous stamp. I'm going to pull in this sheet because I'm already messing up my whole week's worth of stamping right there. Okay. Now the next one is the same stamp again over on the other side, making sure I cover it really well. Now this one is just slightly above, and most of the house is in the picture plane. Okay, so now I need to mask this one so I can put the house behind it. And I know I'm going to need to mask that one, and since I have it already, I might as well do it, because when I was doing this card, I did accidentally not mask this area, and you can't quite see it, but I messed up a little bit when I went to do the next one. So now it's the little short fat house. I'm going to pull that door out of view. And this house is a little higher than the other one. So now we have to decide which is next, and it's probably this one or this one. But both of these are masked. This is not, so we need to mask this now. We'll start pulling some of these masks off at a certain point. And I think what I'll do is do this one again, because it's directly above and behind. Okay, and now this one will be next. So we'll come back to this, and as long as it's not overlapping that one, I don't need to mask that one. But I will, after this, need to move around my masks. I didn't do that one so well, but I can fix that with a pen and just come right in and correct some of the inking. I seem to have trouble with those windows, so it must be something I'm doing. I need to have a little bit of more of a steady line, but this really becomes like a graphic image. That's what I love about it. So I'm going to pull this one off because I don't think we're going to need this one again. Oh, actually we have this one, so we might as well use it. I forgot we had 3 of this one. Okay, so now I can go ahead and stamp that, but I need to cover this up. So I'm going to cover this one up. And what I need to be careful is what I put right here, because I technically could use another one. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to just use the corner of this house to mask that. Okay, so I'm going to put one more in here, and this time I'm going to make sure I really ink that well. Okay, let's hope and pray. Part of the trick is just leaving that down long enough. Oh, that's stamped really beautifully. Okay, so now what we need to do is just put these houses in, which means I have to bring this one back up into here so I can stamp all the last of the little houses. And then I'm done. I just have to color in. Really make that one tall. I've changed a little bit the design, but that's okay. Okay, and I'm done now. Now I can put away my masks for the next time. And I like to leave them on this card. And now the magic, you're going to see the magic as I pull these off. Look at how it looks like I did a detailed drawing of houses. I like the little bit of it that's crooked. It's kind of fun. Now, I do still not love these windows. So I am going to take a few minutes and fix this up. You know what would make so much more sense than I didn't think of? A straight edge. That'll help me with my shakiness, because that's always a problem for me. That helped a lot more. I'm always so impatient to get things done. Let's see if we can straighten this one out a little bit. Just going to make it a thicker window pane. Oh, that's much better. Much, much better. I think I will do one line here. Thank you for your patience. We have to learn to embrace our mistakes, or embrace our disgrace, I usually call it. There. That's a lot better. Okay, so we can put that away. And this is just a felt tip pen that I have. I have ink all over my hands now. So now it's time to color in. And I'm going to color in this little house, and I'll bring in my blends. I am not going to need this anymore, so I'm going to put that away. And one of the things when I was drawing here was that I wasn't real happy with how dark this part of the house got. Excuse me. So I decided I would, on this one that I was going to show you, use this color up in here. So I'm going to do that first so I don't forget, because I have a tendency to forget what my plan is. And I'm using the broad side of this pen. I'm also using the lighter color of the two, of the Cajun Craze. And I'll show you a little trick that you can do to create some shadows. I'm going to use the hard part of the smaller side of the pen, and I'm just going to create a little bit of shadow right on these little clapboards, or I don't know, tongue and groove. I'm challenged with woodworking terms. Okay, and I think I'm going to do the same right here. I'm going to go ahead and just color in the little bottoms of these. I think that will just give it a little bit more warmth. I thought that house looked a little sad when I was done. And now I'm going to go ahead and just color in. And I am using the smaller point. I find that the brush, while it's great, you have to be careful with how hard you push, and I like the definition, but I am going to come back and just do this edge. And then I need to do the door, so I might as well finish that off. I really liked the glow that she got in her windows. And I think I'm going to try something to do that. I'm going to bring in the lifter pen and try to see if we can get that glow to come out. So let's do now the rest of the house. I'm just going to do this edge, and I'm using the hard edge, or what we call the skinny line. See the skinny and the fat line? I like the skinny line for most of my coloring because I can push down on it and not worry about the tip accidentally splaying out and creating an ugly little section. Okay, that's good. And I need to color in the house, because that was what I decided I would color the whole house. Same trick I used before. I can see I went out of the line a little bit. We can try to use that lifter pen for that. That does sometimes help. Might as well show it to you now. I think I'll zoom in a little bit so you can see what I'm doing. See how I went out of the line right there? I'm going to use this to try to lift a little bit of that, and it seems to be doing it. Wow, that's pretty amazing. That took off some of the mistake. I still need to rework the little area right there, but that is pretty amazing, I think. Doesn't lift it totally, but it improves it. Let's just go with that. I like this with a different color, the two-tone house. Call me old-fashioned, but I like that. Now, this part of the card does take a little bit of time, but who doesn't love to spend time coloring? So, tomorrow's sale, I might as well tell you a little bit more about it. Things from 10% all the way up to 50% off. And the largest part of the sale are items that are 50% off. Now, because of that, it's going to be first come, first serve. So my suggestion is to have your order all set. I think the numbers will be the same. And then you can just post it first thing in the morning, or I would even, I don't know exactly what time the sale starts, but if it starts at 2 o'clock our time here in the Eastern time zone, it'd be worth getting up just to get what you want on sale. We didn't have to do that this Thanksgiving because there weren't any big sales. At least I didn't. You remember those days when we would go to a store on Thanksgiving evening or early in the morning to get in and get something on sale? Not a lot of that happening this year because everything's online. Okay, I got my houses colored in nicely and I like them. And this cleaned up really well. I don't know if you can see that. But you see how I turn everything. I'm going to go back in with a darker color just along a couple edges to create a shadowed effect like I did below the windows. Along the edge here. Just underneath my clapboard. Now, if it's too strong, I can always go back over it with a lighter color. But right now, because the color's so dark, it really does work. Okay, I'm happy because that melted right in. So now the last part is the center of the windows. I'm going to just color that one right in. So I'm sort of creating a circle, and because I use Memento ink, I can go over the black pretty well. I'm using the darkest value of the Mango Melody, and now I'm going to use this to go in. I'm not going to go right to the edge, but I'm going to show you a little trick that we're going to use with the lifter to try to create more drama. Okay, I sort of left a little bit of white at the edge, and I'm going to take my lifter and just work it into the edges of this design to sort of create the drama of the lighter value or soften the edge of the lighter color. And I think that worked pretty well. And I'm going to come back in one more time with a hint more of the darker mango just to create more drama. I hope you can see that, but I'm going to zoom back out so I don't forget. Well, I'll pick it up so you can see it. You see how there's a little more drama there now? I like that. We'll zoom back out so that we can put our card together. So we're basically done now. All we have to do is stamp our sentiment, which is the word day, and I have such a hard time stamping things straight. I usually practice a couple times along an edge to see how it's stamping. And that one is stamping a little bit, but I think I'm going to go ahead and just make it crooked. Then I don't have to worry if I mess up. And this I hand cut from the well-written dies. And now I'm going to put my card together. I think I'm going to glue this down first before I try to glue on the word happy. And then we'll be done. So today is a little bit of a longer card, I realize. But well worth it. And you learned a neat technique. You really got to mask beyond what you normally would do. Again, I'm going to use this. And then the last part is little touches of glue all over. And by little, I mean, I'm barely squeezing this. I just want little splotches of glue that might be on the tip of my glue container to come out. I'm just putting so little. If you put too much, you'll have a big ugly mess, and then your card will not go in its envelope very well because it'll stick to it. And there you have it. I know this took a little bit of time. Thanks for hanging in there with me, and I hope you enjoyed today. Tomorrow, remember, I won't be on at 1. Everything starts at 10:30. We'll be making one of these cute little bags that I'll show you how to do. It's really fun to do, and I even fill it with candy. So I hope you watch tomorrow, and the sale starts first thing tomorrow. I'm getting up early. How about you?